Hi everybody, I'm Katie with Living48 Real Estate Team here in Arizona, the 48th state in the Union. So we're glad to have you back with us on our YouTube channel today. And today we're going to be talking about those important questions that you are going to want to ask as a home buyer. So one of the most important questions that every home buyer is going to ask is, how is this neighborhood? Is it a good neighborhood? Do I want to move myself into it? Do I want to move my family into it? That is one of the most important questions that we get asked, and it gets asked by almost every single buyer that we have worked with ever. So we have a fantastic resource that we're going to be talking a lot about today, and that resource is the Buyer Advisory, and it's actually a requirement here in the state of Arizona that it be delivered to every buyer, and that every buyer review the contents of it and sign off that they have received it. Within this Buyer Advisory, you will find live links that are going to connect you to all sorts of things that are going to allow you to answer this question, and probably a lot more than you have. So in the Buyer Advisory, you will find links that will help you find out what the crime statistics are, what the school ratings are, what the where the sex offenders are in that neighborhood. So there's going to be a lot of information that we can provide to you just through that Buyer Advisory. But there's a little bit of practical advice that we can give you as well. I like to recommend to my buyers that they go by the home and the neighborhood on the weekend and on the evenings, When they go through the neighborhood in the evenings and on the weekends, what they're going to be able to see is how many cars are parked along the streets or in the driveways, so you can determine how many people are not using their driveway or their garages as if they're using it as storage or if they're using it to park their cars. So that kind of tells you how many people there are there in the neighborhood and how well they take care of their homes and what they're using their garages for. Now, why that might not seem as something important, it might be important to you. If it bothers you that your neighbor parks their cars along the street in the evenings, well, you're not going to know that until you drive through in the evenings. You're also going to be able to see in the evenings and on the weekends how many kids are out playing. Is that important to you? Do you want a family-friendly neighborhood so you've got the parents sitting out on the front porch while they're watching their kids play out in the front yard? You'll be able to better see that during the weekends and the evenings as well. So we recommend taking a drive around during the weekends and the evenings. What are the average utility bills for the house might be another important question that you would ask. Wonderful, and here in Arizona, we have the ability of going to SRP, APS, whatever the utilities are being held, and you can call them up and ask them what are either the highs and the lows or the averages for that particular house, that specific house. So if you call the carrier of the utility, they will be able to give you a little bit more information on that. I also like to go to the sellers and ask them, can you share with us some of your utility bills? And if they're willing to do that, then we can get you their utility bills as well to have a look at. Now, granted, they may not run the house at the same temperature that you would want to run it at, or they may be grandfathered in on an old plan, or they may use an average. There are a lot of different utility plans out here in Arizona, so there could be some differences between how you would run the house and how they run the house. But at least if we ask, we can get a really good idea of what an average or a high and a low, where we are in the ballpark, and make sure that that is going to work for you and your lifestyle. So another really important question that we're going to have for the sellers is, how old are some of the major appliances in the house? In Arizona, we utilize what's called a seller property disclosure form, and that is something that the seller is going to provide to us as the buyer that's going to tell us all kinds of material or important things that we want to know about the house. If they know the age of the house, or especially if they've replaced the roof in the last little while, they will disclose all of that to us. Now, there may be a seller that doesn't know that particular information, and then we're going to have to rely upon our home inspection and our home inspector to tell us how the roof is doing or how the water heater is doing. Is it working? Is it not working? But we're going to go to the seller and get as much of that information that we possibly can, and they will give us that information to the best of their ability within that property disclosure statement as well. So we do have a couple resources to go to get those questions answered, and again, we will always go to the seller and ask them directly if they haven't provided us that information. Well, thank you so much for watching this informative video on important questions to ask while you're house hunting. We hope this helps you as the buyer to know better what to ask, and if you're a seller, what the buyers are going to be asking of you. Thanks so much for visiting our website at www.living48re.com. And if you have any other questions or concerns that I can help you with, I'm always here to be a resource. The best way to reach out to me directly is at my cell phone. So either a call or text at that number will be fantastic. You can get me at 480-415-1341, or you can always send me an email as well with any additional questions that you have. And that's Katie, Katie, at living48re.com. So again, Katie at living48re.com. Thanks so much for coming to our video today. We'll hope you join us for our next one, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.